UK bank customers over 60 stop. Your money could be at risk if you don't know this. New rules are changing how you withdraw cash, and if you're not careful, you could be blocked from accessing your own account. Stay with me, because I'll show you exactly what's changed, what banks aren't telling you, and the steps you must take to protect your savings. Hey, if you're over 60 or care about your money and want to stay safe with all these new banking rules, this channel is made just for you. I'll be uploading more videos on topics like this, easy to understand, step-by-step guides to protect your savings. So do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button now, so you never miss an important update that could affect your money. Good afternoon, and welcome. Today we need to talk about something that affects millions of people across the United Kingdom, particularly those of you who are over 60 years old. There have been some important changes announced regarding how you can withdraw money from your bank accounts, and it is absolutely essential that you understand what these changes mean for your daily life. Whether you visit your local branch regularly, use cash machines, or prefer to handle your money in person at the counter, these new rules will have an impact on how you manage your finances going forward. Let me start by explaining what has actually changed and why the banks have decided to implement these new measures. The Financial Conduct Authority, which is the organization that oversees banking operations in the United Kingdom, has been working with major banks to update their withdrawal policies. The primary reason behind these changes is to protect customers from fraud and scams, which have unfortunately become increasingly sophisticated in recent years. Criminals have been targeting older customers in particular, often tricking them into withdrawing large amounts of cash that they then hand over to fraudsters who pose as bank officials, police officers, or government representatives. The banks want to make it harder for these criminals to succeed, and so they have introduced some new safeguards that will affect how you access your money. The first major change involves withdrawal limits at cash machines, which many people call ATMs or cash points. Previously, most banks allowed customers to withdraw up to £300 per day from these machines without any additional checks or questions. Under the new rules, this limit remains the same for most customers, but if you are over 60 and you suddenly try to withdraw amounts that are unusual for your normal pattern of behavior, the machine may decline your transaction and ask you to visit a branch instead. This does not mean your money is being taken away or that you cannot access it. What it means is that the bank's computer systems are designed to notice when something looks different from your usual habits, and they want to have a conversation with you to make sure you are not being pressured or deceived by someone. When you visit a branch to make a withdrawal, particularly if you want to take out a larger amount of cash, the staff members are now required to ask you some questions. These questions might feel a bit personal or intrusive at first, but please understand they are there to protect you. The bank employees have been trained to ask things like what you plan to use the money for, whether anyone has asked you to withdraw this cash, and whether you feel you are under any pressure to take the money out. If you are withdrawing money for a perfectly legitimate reason, such as paying a tradesperson who prefers cash, buying something from a private seller, or simply wanting to have cash on hand for your own peace of mind, you should answer these questions honestly and the bank will process your withdrawal. The staff are not trying to prevent you from accessing your own money. They're trying to protect you from becoming a victim of fraud. Another significant change relates to how much advance notice you might need to give for very large withdrawals. If you want to take out more than £5,000 in cash, many banks are now asking customers to give at least 2 working days' notice. This means you would need to contact your branch or call the bank's telephone service to let them know you will be coming in to make this withdrawal. The bank will then make sure they have enough cash available for you and will prepare for your visit. This advance notice requirement serves 2 purposes. First, it ensures that smaller branches, which do not keep enormous amounts of cash on the premises for security reasons, can have the money ready for you. Second, it gives the bank a chance to check that your account has not been compromised and that you are genuinely the person requesting this withdrawal. For those of you who rely on post office services to handle your banking, there have been some adjustments there as well. Many banks have partnerships with the post office that allow you to withdraw cash from your account at post office counters across the country. This service remains available, but the post office staff are now also trained to ask protective questions if you are withdrawing unusually large amounts. The same principles apply as in bank branches. The staff want to ensure you are safe and not being exploited by criminals. The daily withdrawal limits at post office counters vary depending on which bank you use, but they typically range from £300 to £1,000. If you need more than this, you will usually need to visit your actual bank branch or give advance notice. Now, let us talk about telephone and online banking, because these channels have also seen some important updates. If you use telephone banking to request a transfer or withdrawal, the bank staff on the phone are now required to take extra time to verify your identity and to discuss the purpose of your transaction if it seems unusual. They might ask you to answer additional security questions beyond the standard ones you are used to. If you do online banking through a computer or smartphone app, you might notice that the bank's systems ask you to confirm certain transactions through multiple steps. For example, you might need to enter a code that gets sent to your mobile phone, or you might need to use a card reader device. These extra steps can feel frustrating when you just want to access your money quickly, but they are there because criminals have become very skilled at stealing online banking passwords and gaining access to accounts. One aspect of these changes that has caused some confusion is what happens if you disagree with the bank's assessment or if they temporarily block a transaction. Let me be very clear about your rights in this situation. The money in your bank account belongs to you, and ultimately you have the right to access it. However, the banks also have legal responsibilities to protect you from financial harm and to prevent money laundering. If a bank believes you are about to become a victim of fraud, they may place a temporary hold on your transaction while they investigate. During this hold, which should not last more than a few days in most cases, you should receive communication from the bank explaining what is happening and what you need to do next. You will typically need to speak with someone from their fraud prevention team who will ask you detailed questions about the intended transaction. If you can satisfy them that you are acting of your own free will and that you understand what you are doing with your money, they must allow the transaction to proceed. Some of you might be wondering what counts as a suspicious pattern that would trigger these extra checks. The banks use sophisticated computer systems that learn your normal behavior over time. If you usually withdraw £50 once a week from a cash machine near your home, and then suddenly you try to withdraw £300 from a machine in a different city, this might flag as unusual. If you typically keep a balance of several £1,000s in your account and rarely make large transfers, and then suddenly you try to move £5,000 to an account you have never sent money to before, this would definitely trigger a review. If someone contacts you claiming to be from your bank or from a government agency and tells you that you need to move your money to a safe account or withdraw cash for any reason, this is almost certainly a scam, and the bank's systems are designed to catch these situations before you lose your money. It is also worth understanding that these changes affect different types of accounts in slightly different ways. If you have a basic bank account, which some people use if they have had credit problems in the past, the withdrawal limits might be lower than those for standard current accounts. If you have a savings account, you might face restrictions on how many withdrawals you can make per year without losing interest or paying a penalty, although this is not a new rule but rather a long-standing feature of many savings products. If you have a joint account with a spouse or partner, both account holders will need to follow these same rules, and if one of you makes an unusual withdrawal, it could trigger questions for both of you. Let me address some specific scenarios that might apply to your life. Imagine you want to buy a used car from a private seller and you have agreed to pay £4,000 in cash. Under the new rules, you should contact your bank a few days before you need the money and explain that you will be coming in to make this withdrawal. When you arrive at the branch, bring any documentation you have about the purchase, such as an advert for the car or messages exchanged with the seller. The bank staff will ask you questions to verify that this is a genuine transaction, and once they are satisfied, they will give you the cash. The process might take a bit longer than it would have in the past, but you will still be able to get your money. Or perhaps you want to give a substantial cash gift to a grandchild for a wedding or to help with a house deposit. Again, if the amount is significant, contact your bank in advance. Explain the situation, and consider whether a bank transfer might actually be safer and more convenient than cash. Many older customers prefer cash because it feels more tangible and real, but electronic transfers are actually more secure because there is a clear record of the transaction and the money cannot be physically lost or stolen. Some of you might feel frustrated by these changes and feel that the banks are treating you like children who cannot be trusted with your own money. I understand this reaction, and it is a valid feeling. However, the unfortunate reality is that fraud against older customers has reached epidemic proportions in the United Kingdom. The criminals are extremely convincing, and they use psychological manipulation techniques that can fool even very intelligent and careful people. The banks have faced significant criticism for not doing enough to protect customers, and these new measures are their response to that criticism. While the rules might sometimes feel inconvenient, they are genuinely motivated by a desire to prevent you from losing your life savings to a criminal. There are some practical steps you can take to make these changes work more smoothly in your daily life. First, if you know you will need a large amount of cash for something, plan ahead and contact your bank early. Do not wait until the day you need the money, as this could lead to disappointment and stress. Second, keep your bank informed about your normal patterns. If you are going to be traveling and will be using cash machines in different locations, you can often tell your bank about your travel plans in advance so they do not block your card thinking it has been stolen. Third, never, ever give your banking passwords, PIN numbers, or online banking codes to anyone, no matter how official they sound. Your bank will never call you and ask for this information. Fourth, if someone contacts you claiming to be from your bank and suggests you need to move money or withdraw cash, hang up and call the bank back using the number on the back of your bank card or on your bank statements, not a number the caller gives you. It is also important to know where you can get help if you are unsure about something. Every major bank has a telephone service specifically for customers who have concerns about potential fraud. These teams are available to discuss transactions before you make them, and they can give you advice about whether something sounds legitimate. If you do not have family members nearby who can help you think through financial decisions, organizations like Age UK have telephone helplines where trained volunteers can talk through situations with you. Your local Citizens Advice Bureau can also provide free, independent advice about banking matters and your rights as a customer. Looking ahead, we can expect these rules to continue evolving as banks learn more about how to balance customer protection with customer service. Some banks are experimenting with technology that allows them to verify transactions more quickly and with less inconvenience to customers. For example, some banks are testing systems where you can verify a large withdrawal using a video call on your smartphone instead of having to visit a branch in person. Other banks are developing artificial intelligence systems that can better distinguish between genuine unusual transactions and potentially fraudulent ones. The most important thing to remember is that these changes, while sometimes frustrating, are ultimately designed with your financial security in mind. The banks have seen too many heartbreaking cases where older customers have lost tens of thousands of pounds to convincing fraudsters, and these new rules are meant to create opportunities for bank staff to intervene before disaster strikes. Your money is still your money, and you still have the right to access it and use it as you wish. You simply need to be prepared to answer some questions and perhaps give a bit of advance notice for larger transactions. By understanding these new rules and working with your bank rather than against them, you can keep your money safe while still maintaining your financial independence and dignity. If you have questions about how these specific changes apply to your particular bank or your particular circumstances, the best thing to do is to contact your bank directly and ask them to explain their policies to you in detail. Most banks have staff specially trained to help older customers understand these matters, and they should be able to give you clear, patient explanations that address your specific concerns. Thank you for taking the time to understand these important changes, and please do share this information with friends and family members who might also benefit from knowing about these new banking rules.